Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Old Man in the Read. My name is Jerry. Today I'm going to do the fifth and final presentation of Pulitzer Prize winners that I've read. And this will go from the years 2007 up to 2025. And I'll show the winners and then any of the finalists that I might have read uh, with that. So anyway, the first winner I have in 2007 is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is just a devastating apocalyptic story that follows a father and son who are on a trek through just bleak and totally lifeless landscape. Their only source of survival is to find canned foods to live on, and so they have to scavenge for canned foods, and it's just a completely hopeless story that to me ended kind of strangely because I don't think McCarthy could bring it upon himself to give what I thought was the obvious inevitable conclusion, but he ended it on a somewhat positive note. The next is a finalist for that year, The Echo Maker by Richard Powers, and this is a story about a man with a brain injury, and he believes that his sister is an imposter. The winner in 2008 was The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. And this is about an overweight Dominican boy growing up in New Jersey. He's obsessed with science fiction, but he desperately wants a girlfriend, and he eventually tries to kill himself after being spurned by a girl. But after college, he moves to the Dominican Republic and becomes involved with a girl that again leads to disaster. One of the finalists I read for that year is Tree of Smoke by Dennis Johnson. And this is set during the Vietnam War, and it's a story that follows Skip Sands, and he's belongs to the CIA, and his uncle, a war hero and a colonel. But much of the story is told through dialogue and also includes numerous other characters. The winner in 2009 was Olive Kittredge by Elizabeth Strout. And this is a collection of short stories, all centered around Olive Kittredge. A couple of the stories I'll mention. Pharmacy. This is when about Olive's husband. He has an affair with a woman named Denise, and then Denise moves away with another man. And then another story, A Different Road, and this is about Olive and her husband who are taken hostage while they're at a hospital by two men who have come to rob drugs from the hospital. One of the finalists is The Plague of Doves by Louise Erdrich. And this is about an event happened in 1911 where a family of white farmers in North Dakota are murdered. Then 3 Native Americans are falsely accused of that and are lynched by a mob. The story follows the lives of some of the family members of the men that were involved in the incident, and it follows for a couple of generations. In 2010, the winner was Tinkers by Paul Harding. This is a story of a family relationship told by George Crosby as he lays dying. He's a clock repairer, and he's reminiscing about his father, who was a peddler and a tinker, and who had also been epileptic. In 2011, the winner was A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. This is a collection of narratives centered around the record industry, and the goon in the title is time, and all of the characters come and go as the chapters go back and forth, and it goes through about a 50-year period. One of the finalists is The Surrendered by Chung Rae Lee. This is a story that follows the intersection of three people in the early 1950s. One of them is a young girl who is a refugee from Korea, or from the Korean War, and she's in an orphanage. Another is an ex-GI from New York who is working at the orphanage. And the third is the wife of a reverend, and she is teaching at the orphanage. And the story is told basically through numerous flashbacks. In 2012, there were no winners, but I have the three finalists that were in the running. The first is Swamplandia. This is by Karen Russell, and this is a story of just a very quirky family of alligator wrestlers who are living in Florida and run a theme park. Another finalist was The Pale King by David Foster Wallace. This was actually an unfinished novel that Wallace had been working on for a number of years, for like 10 years before he committed suicide. But it's basically about an IRS worker dealing with bureaucracy in the 1980s, and the story just follows numerous characters and numerous storylines that run through it, and Wallace actually included himself in the story. And the third finalist of those is Train Dreams by Dennis Johnson, and this is the one I would have picked as the winner if I had been on the committee. But this is a short novella that follows the lonely life of Robert Grenier. He's a logger and laborer who is, it's just a heartbreaking story written in very sparse and lyrical prose. The winner in 2013 was The Orphan Master's Son by Adam Johnson. This is a story that takes place in North Korea, and Jun Do is the son of a cruel dictator of a work camp for orphans. He's trained for combat and ends up taking part in an operation to kidnap people from a Japanese beach. And the story tells a lot about the Orwellian world of dear leader Kim Jong-il. A finalist is The Snow Child by Ewan Ivey. This is kind of a fairy tale-like story. It's about an older couple homesteading in Alaska who make a little snow girl snowman and then discover later a little girl in the forest, peeking out behind the trees, wearing the same items that they had put on the snowman. In 2014, the winner was The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is about a 13-year-old boy who survives a terrorist blast at an art museum that has killed his mother. He's abandoned by his father, and he had been taken in by a wealthy friend, but he had taken a painting from the blast titled "The Goldfinch," and then his story unfolds with lots of desperate situations, and most of those are because of the goldfinch painting. And finalist, The Sun by Philip Meyer. This follows members of the McCullough family. It begins with Eli McCullough, who has been taken captive when his family were massacred by Comanches, and he was a little boy. He became integrated into the Comanche lifestyle, but then later eventually returned to the white society. And the book is told through alternating chapters that are told by Eli's son Peter and his great-granddaughter Jeannie. The winner in 2015 was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. It's a story that follows mainly a blind girl and her father who flee from Paris to the Brittany coast during the war, World War II. And a second storyline is about a young German boy who grows up fascinated with crystal radios and then becomes part of a German unit that identifies resistance radio operators. And then these two storylines eventually converge. One of the finalists is Let Me Be Frank With You by Richard Ford. This is the fourth of the Frank Bascom books, and this actually is 4 connected novellas. One of them is I'm Here. This takes place during after the Hurricane Sandy, and it's about a house that Bascom had lived in. Then Everything Could Be Worse, and this is about a tragedy that took place in another house of his, former house. Then The New Normal, he visits his first ex-wife who is dying of Parkinson's disease, and then the final story is Death of Others, and then again he's visiting, but this is a friend who is also dying. And the finalist for that year, the last finalist, is The Moor's Account by Leila Lalami. And this is based on a book I had read several years before titled Castaways, and this is about the disastrous Navarre expedition that had landed in Florida. And it's it's a historical fiction that's adheres fairly closely to the actual true story, but it's told from the perspective of a Moor slave, and he was among the 4 survivors from the original 600 that had landed in Florida. Okay, I'm going to pause this and get another stack of books. Okay, the winner in 2016 was The Sympathizer by Viet Thanh Nguyen, and this is takes place when the panic escape from Vietnam was occurring when America left and communist forces were coming in. And it's about a general and his trusted aide, a captain, uh, who make it to the airbase and for transport out. The aide or captain is loyal to the general, but he is also a spy for the communists. Uh, and so they go to Los Angeles, and the aide is still working for the general, but he's reporting back to his Vietnam handlers. The winner in 2017 was The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. This is a story that follows a young woman slave along with a young man that escaped from a Georgia plantation. And the main story is about her attempts to stay ahead of a very brutal slave hunter. And the Underground Railroad in the book is an actual railroad that runs through tunnels. In 2018, the winner was Less by Andrew Sean Greer. And this is a humorous tale of a gay man who's about to turn 50, and he looks back and starts reminiscing about his former lovers and sexual affairs. But then he is invited to the wedding of one of his former lovers, and he tries to get out of it by traveling around the world. In 2019, the winner was The Overstory by Richard Powers, and this is 8 stories by different individuals. Each of these stories is connected to trees in some way, and the stories all tend to converge and form the foundation for the rest of the book. But it's basically about a group of people who are committed to saving the remaining forests of the West, primarily the redwoods. Runner-up, it was The Great Believers by Rebecca McKay. And this basically has 2 storylines that are tied together. One of them, it takes place in the 1980s, and it's during the AIDS epidemic. And the other takes place in modern times, and it's about a woman who is traveling across the world in search of her estranged daughter. Another finalist, Tommy Orange. There by Tommy Orange. And this is a story of a robbery at a powwow. And it's told from the perspective of 12 different characters. And each of these, each chapter is titled with the name of the character, and it gives a piece of the puzzle leading up to a final conclusion. In 2020, the winner was The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. And this story follows just a young man, Elwood, who's a decent, hard-working, studious young man. But while he's hitchhiking, he is picked up by someone who is driving a stolen car, and they get caught. And so he is sent to just a horrific reform school in Florida called Nickel. And he makes friends with a boy named Turner. And the story basically just details the harsh treatment that they have to endure. In 2021, the winner was The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich. And there are two storylines that run through the book. One is about a man, and I believe this is based on her grandfather, I think it was, but it's about a night watchman named Thomas who leads a fight against a 1953 resolution by Congress known as the House Concurrent Resolution 108. And this was meant to end the treaties and terminate tribes. And then another storyline is about a 19-year-old woman who goes to Minneapolis in search of her missing sister. A finalist for that year is Telephone by Percival Everett. And this follows Zach Wells. He's a college professor, but his daughter is diagnosed with an incurable disease that is progressive and incurable. Then this is something he knows he can't really, he's just totally powerless against. But then second storyline is about Mexican women who are being used as slave labor, and this is a situation that Zach knows he can do something about. In 2022, the winner was Netanyahu's by Joshua Cohen. This story follows a Jewish professor at a small upstate New York college, and it's in a small town where his is the only Jewish family there. But he's been enlisted to assist in the recruitment of a prospect for the school, and that is Benzion Netanyahu. It's just really an outrageously funny story. Cohen just used every stereotypical Jewish trait that comics often use and just ran with it. The winner in 2023 was Trust by Hernan Diaz. And this is broken into 4 parts that focus on the downfall of a wealthy socialite family, Helen and Benjamin Rask. But it's told through 4 sections. One of them is composed as a novel. Another is an autobiography. Another one is a memoir. And then the final is a diary. The winner in 2022 was Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. And in this, Demon is born in Appalachia to a drug-addicted teenage girl. She then later marries a very abusive man named Stoner. And she eventually dies from an overdose, and Demon is then put into foster care, and then he runs away from that and then goes to his grandmother's. But he just continues becoming involved in more and more misfortunes. In 2024, the winner was Night Watch by Jane Ann Phillips. This takes place after the Civil War, and it's about a 12-year-old named Connolly, and she accompanies her mother, who has been brought to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and her father had gone missing during the war and never returned. And the story is told from different perspectives, and it tells about their situation and how it all came to be. And the final winner in 2025 was James by Percival Everett. Really a great book. The first part of the book follows fairly closely the story of Huckleberry Finn up to the encounter with the Duke and Daphne, and then the story diverges and becomes its own story. But the main character then is Jim, and it tells that he's actually, or it implies that he's actually well educated and is just pretending when he speaks in this slangy slave speech that he's known for. But it follows Jim, or James as he's referred to, as he goes on his own and tries to avoid capture. His intention is to free his wife and daughter from slavery. But those are the Pulitzer Prize winner books I've read and finalists. So I want to thank you for watching, and maybe I'll see you again on another video. Thanks.